So I think I know how to like do a quick minute like review of like Midsommar, right?
Oh, yeah.
So did you like Hereditary?
I still actually haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, then I'll put it like this: if you liked Hereditary, you're gonna like somber. You're gonna in a somber way like Midsommar. If you liked Midsommar, then you hated Hereditary.
Really?
Yeah, because like just looking at the movies, both of them are on the exact polar opposite of their themes.
Huh.
And I've noticed that Hereditary, the darker one, and it is the darker one. Like like Midsommar has its dark moments, but it doesn't like really like expand on them.
Yeah.
Like one of the things is that there's like a character in there who's like the Messiah, but he's like inbred. It's not like a spoiler like of like the plot, but like they never like ever expanded on it. Yeah, like so they introduced it for like importance, but they never expanded on it within the original release. So it's kind of like where Hereditary touched on everything in it. Basically what I'm getting at is that Midsommar is way more artsy than it needs to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Punk Rock Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
This is the only podcast in the world where the love of horror movies meets the culture of punk rock music. And today, we're here to remind you to actually watch that horror movie you've been thinking of watching on Netflix. You know, that one that you like eyed and you think it's kind of cool because its cover looks cool or it sounds like it has an interesting premise. Just watch it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's already seems just even the littlest interesting, like, just watch it. Just dive in. Best case scenario, you are one of the few people to watch a horror movie that is bound to become popular.
Yeah.
Before it became popular.
You know what's funny? That's what happened to me with the Babadook.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I watched it like a full 3-4 months before like it boomed in popularity. It was really funny. I was like, huh, cool.
Also, I want to remind people, though, that this is just kind of a nice thing to remember is that if you have, like, a significant... Like, if you have a younger sibling or, like, someone that you're kind of, like, a guardian to or, you know, just your kid, I'm going to strongly recommend that you don't hate on the shows that they like. Like, so, bringing a little humanity into this real quick.
Yeah.
Not that we're never not. But, but like, so you know, obviously, of Teen Titans Go.
I was just thinking of like fucking, oh yeah, fucking that gory ass scene when that bitch gets her head cut off and blood squirts out of her. That was fucking awesome. And you remember to hold your puppy. Okay,
yeah,
it's soft, like it's nice, but then oh my god, when he cut that guy in half.
And then like when his gut spilled out, he's like, "You're hurting me," and he's like, "Kill me now." Like, oh, dude, magical.
Mm.
But you know, like those adorable moments when a baby laughs. Real wholesome shit there, right now, man. Like, that is the shit. Just so sweet.
Just say it, like,
and puppy breath. I mean,
puppy breath. Oh, it's the greatest.
It's so cute. Ever. Like it's kind of gross, but it's not too gross. Like,
yeah, you're like, oh, it's only freshly licked its balls for the first time.
Is that that time when that guy got his fucking brain right through his nose?
It turned out his sister was the killer who was sleeping with his father.
Oh my god!
But it wasn't his real father.
Holy shit!
You know what? It's okay to cry.
But no. So anyway, so the point I was trying to make before I went off on that is so the point I was trying to make was. You know the show Teen Titans Go?
Yeah.
Like, and the new revised Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah.
So, I kind of, like, Aaron loves watching those shows.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized something. So, for one, the shows themselves are, like, fairly wholesome. Like, I know Teen Titans Go has more of, like, tongue-in-cheek, like, humor.
Yeah.
But, like, it's, like, more wholesome than, like, Ren and Stimpy was.
Yeah,
But, like,
well, yeah.
like, so, like,
I still can't believe they used to get away with that.
I guess that's how I'm comparing it. But, like, my point being is, like, so Teen Titans and Powerpuff Girls in the 90s was the first iteration of that for us. So, obviously, like, that's going to be, like, on a mantle.
Yeah.
But then I realized the new revised Powerpuff Girls and Teen Titans Go is the first iteration for Aaron.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, as much as I hate Teen Titans Go and I'm not a fan of the new Powerpuff Girls art style, I'm just like, I can't say shit about it. Like, I can't.
Because our parents used to watch the shit that we would watch.
Like, this means something to her, and I remember when these cartoons meant something to me.
Yeah.
Like, when she's older and I can actually talk to her about it, I'll show her the original Teen Titans and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, like, then, like, then she'll be like, oh, so basically they traded out action for comedy. I'm like, yes, and that's why we were all mad. And then she's like, oh, okay. Like, and when we can have those conversations, yeah, that'll be nice and whatnot. But I just, like, or else I can't,
you're like, she needs to be that age already.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm ready for it. Like, I'm going to make a solid argument that she's going to have to agree with. Like, she's going to be...
like, when you have that argument, she's like, all right, fine, fair enough. You're like, I have saved this argument for 13 years.
You didn't stand a chance. You had a week to get ready. like you had just now to get ready for this. No, like, fucking, I don't know, man. I just, like, kind of realized that. Although we're like, we are never gonna let you watch that Ryan's Toy World. That's that one with that kid who opens up, like, toys.
What?
Have you never heard of that? Like, it's a YouTube channel of, like, this kid named Ryan, and, like, his parents just buy him toys, and he opens up the toys, and they put it on YouTube.
What?
Yeah, like, so that's all it is. And then he, like, plays with the toys.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, that's really weird.
But, like, that aside, like, I'm just like, I'm not gonna feed this whole, like, show that's around consuming product. Now, to be fair, on cable, like, they always are, like, shoving, like, toy, like, commercials in your face. But, like, even more so when it's a show centered around it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, hey, here's this new awesome Lego set that's, like, $85.
Yeah.
Like, or whatever. And it's just like, isn't this cool? Like, because I had this instance with, like, also Erin, where, like, I had to explain to her to appreciate her own things and not just want things that other people have.
Yeah.
Like, just appreciation. And I just, like, that whole mindset of, like, Ryan, like, what that show does just kind of, like, really bums the shit out of me, and I just don't think it's healthy.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That should have been the thing I hate this week. That's what we're doing now.
There you go. That's the thing you hate.
That's it. Fucking this is now sliding into
the things
we love and hate. So this is the segment where we pick something that has happened the past month, week, or day that we just want to talk about. What events about.
Getting way too into it too. And I was like, man, he really hates this thing.
Well, I do fucking hate it. So continuing forward, like, that's just going to be what I hate this week, and then I'll go into what I like or love this week. But, like, just that fucking, like, that is what, like, if we could stop being mad about cartoons and just be mad about shows like Ryan's Toy World, I think we would have better TV quality. Now, I understand there's way more important things that we should be fighting for, but I'm just keeping it within this context. Beyond this, yes, we all want to save the planet and everyone else in it. Got that. Now, talking about TV shows, like, fuck's sake, like, Ryan's World needs to stop, and that kid has made millions. Like, that kid is set.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the kid is set. I firmly believe that unless he goes to, like, college and school and, like, gets a good education on, like maintaining finances, that it's gonna burn through that.
Oh yeah,
but fucking
burn through it at age 6.
And also, if you're gonna come out and be like, Matt, how can you say this about a kid? The kid has made millions opening toys. I don't think he gives a shit about my opinions.
Yeah,
like, straight up, like, fucking, like,
he's gonna be like, fuck that podcaster, I don't give a shit.
And if that dude, and if for some reason he hears of us and hears of me complaining about him, and this is the thing that sets him off, that only confirms my thoughts that he's going to burn through all of his money. Because you know what people do in high-stress situations? They like to splurge, whether it's on food, money, or, you know, any other sort of, like, activity that could be seen as, like, cavalier with finances.
How would they splurge in money? On money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, fucking, I don't know, stock trade. God. NASDAQ! More to NASDAQ! Fuck you, Bob! I'm bound to something to life!
I don't need DOS.
I don't know, but you get.
I'll just open more fucking toys.
I just need to know that my point's being made here. Like, do you get where I'm going at? Because I know I'm going way more deep.
The forcible consumerism.
Yeah, is what fucking bums me, man.
That's so punk rock, dude.
I know. Let's go listen to some Cro-Mags and fucking talk about how hardcore we are in the pit. You know what you are. Which fans I'm talking about. You know who you are. I'm not shaming you, but it is how you talk. I know that because we once talked like that.
I mean, we still do at points.
Yeah, except I more so try to keep you like from spraining your ankle anymore.
Nah, YOLO, man.
It's like, stop jumping. Never. So anyways, so the thing I love this week is the fact that we went and saw Bury Me Alive. Wow, I said that. I need to space that out. It sounded like I said "bury me alive."
Yeah, I was just like, when the fuck did we do that?
No, this like last Friday we went and saw Bury Mia live on their album release show. That was just it was a fun time. I mean, I've talked about it before on the podcast how like those small indie shows definitely have like a different atmosphere, but they really do. I mean,
they do. Because this is. At least, from what I remember, this is the second indie show that you and me went to.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember the first one, it was, like, around your birthday, and I was like, hey, dude,
yeah, we talked.
It
was Glyphic and, like, No Name for Heroes or something.
Something like that.
I think it was, like, No Name for Heroes.
Yeah, but, like, yeah, that was a lot of fun, and then when we went to Bury Me, that was great.
Yeah, like, fucking, I mean, like, I understand the apprehension of, like, if I'm going to buy a ticket, I wanted to go to a big show that I know I'm going to, but I think I made the right argument when I was telling you what I think the difference between the big shows and the like small indie shows are. Where it's like when you're going to a big show, like again, I'll use the same example I use, which is like Dropkick Murphys. Say you're going to go see Dropkick Murphys, you know what songs you're hoping that they're going to play. And that they do play, and you're just kind of like, okay, now get to the next one. And now get to the next one. And like, yeah, when they're playing that song, you're still enjoying the moment and dancing and taking it in for what it is. Yeah. But you still have the anticipation of like, oh, let's go. Next one. What's the next one? Oh, is it I'm Showing Up to Boston? Is it Your Spirit's Alive? Like, you're just kind of like going through that motion. Whereas you go to a small show, and keep in mind, also, real quick, on the big shows, you're being pushed. Like, if it's during the summer, it is fucking hot. And we all have to accept the fact that heat is fucking brutal sometimes. Yes, like, wherever you are, really. And it's just like, you kind of get more tired and stressed out, and it kind
unless
of feels...
you're one of those weird people... Sorry, I was like, unless you're one of those weird people like, I like the heat. You can go fuck yourself.
I like feeling like a sweat ball sack.
Yeah, like... You know what? Why don't you go sweat ball sack somewhere else with that positive attitude you got there, Karen?
So that's my whole thing. Is like you get like all those like those festivals and big shows are awesome. Like it gets really crowded and you bump into douchebags a lot. And it just happens. Where at the small show, you're going to a band who maybe you follow a little bit or you haven't heard much of them, and you kind of like are buying an experience.
You've never heard of them, like just a spur of the moment. You know what? This sounds like a good time.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was meaning. Yeah, my bad. But like you kind of you find actually like new music that you enjoy, and you can say, "Oh yeah, I've been listening to Bury Me for a while." What either on the Punk Rock Horror Podcast or they did this album release show, and it was fucking phenomenal. They had great energy. Yeah. Like you don't really get to see those beginning moments of a band and have that like atmosphere, because even then, even if it's not a packed house, like there's still like a good number of people go that are like in good like moods or just want to have a few beers, like drink and like have fun. And like just listen to music, and it's like a really more intimate feeling with just the band itself and us everybody. Like just kind of just those small indie shows, man. Like don't take them for what was the word? Granted. Don't take them for granted. It's just support your local scene. I mean, really go see these bands. I mean, because we bring them on our band showcase episodes a lot, and 10-foot pole aside. A lot of them are very indie, like small bar club kind of situations, and they put on some of the best shows. Like another one that we brought on that I saw is Last Real Hero. I mean, Lauren went to that one, and it was a fucking phenomenal show.
Oh yeah,
I think it was at the Toe Tavern, and it was so small. Like this dance space was so small. Like like fire, like code breaking small in certain situations. Not really. I'm not like trying to get him in trouble, but like point being is like it's just that small, and like everybody was dancing, and was having a great time. Like Lauren was impressed because she's big in the country, and so that was her first punk show, and she loved it. She's like, you know, everything that happened there would never ever happen at a country show, like because she lost her phone and somebody brought it back to her, and like that would never happen. Like everybody there was like nice. She's like, yeah, there is some guys like checking me out here and there, but like at country shows they're very vocal about it, and it can be very uncomfortable. And like I've never felt safer at a show than at a punk show. Yeah. And I was just like, and obviously there was those few that were bad, but in everybody's life. But you get what I mean. Point being is the fact that you can go to a small show and just have a great time. You know, I guess in my long drawn out breath way, just that's all I'm getting at is that I love those small punk shows. And again, kudos to Bury Me for the album release show, and Hello Central, Major Glenn, and Jail Pocket. You guys, everybody playing that show that night did fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great.
Check out all these bands. Maybe we'll bring them on for a few band showcase episodes. You never know. Am I foreshadowing? Ooh, you have to subscribe to find out. But anyways, Cody, what do you love and hate?
Well, thing I love is going to the Bury Me show also. Mostly because like this entire summer, like I haven't really had a chance to get out and go to like shows or anything. So it was like mostly because like I've had a hectic work schedule and then everything with the podcast, so like I haven't had a whole lot of time. So that was nice, and it was awesome. Fucking like, and if you guys listen to those band showcase episodes, like that was I sadly couldn't like make it for those interviews. So it was the first time I met Bury Me, and they were fucking cool guys. Like all of them were really cool dudes, and they put on a phenomenal show. Like I honestly got like some 41 vibe.
Yeah.
Like from them, like with their harmonics and stuff, and it was just really dope. And they all had looked like they had an awesome time on stage, and like they had such a good stage presence.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
I mean,
it was just an awesome time, and like, and I really appreciated finally being able to get out and like go to a show, especially like a show for one of our guys that we've had on here.
Yeah, I mean, and again, all the bands on there did fucking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there was another thing I was gonna add in about that night that like I just remembered. That was comparative to another night I went to. Oh yeah, so kind of like why indie shows are so great. So like One Eyed Doll, who I swear to God, we're gonna get him on this podcast one day.
Yeah, you can message him.
I know, but I'm so nervous. I'm straight up nervous. I'm a huge fan of them. Like,
I know you are.
And like just to like message him, be like, hey, do you want to come hang out and talk to us? Like that is such a big hurdle for me that I'm trying to get my anxiety over.
I can do it.
Dude, I'm not stopping you from doing it. I'm not going to be like, oh no, don't let me meet people I love and admire. Don't do that.
I know.
I'm not going to stop you, I promise.
You know what? I can actually see you trying to. Like the second right before I hit send, I can see you go,
no! And it's like, break the laptop in half and...
I said I wasn't ready.
I changed my mind.
But fucking, dude, okay, sorry. That goes off. That goes into like what happened to me with Bill. What? Yeah, so it was like when I met Bill Stevenson, like I totally wasn't prepared. So
right.
like, because like I ran into him at a bar.
And to provide context, Bill Stevenson is the drummer for the Descendants.
Yeah, and like because like I used to play the drums and loved the Descendants, and it was just super fucking surreal.
Yeah,
like to me.
I played to a lot of your songs.
yeah, and I was just like, I didn't know what to say or anything, and like luckily I was able to like, oh yeah, I work. He like asked what I do because I was like, oh my god, you're Bill, and he was just like, oh yeah, so what do you do? And I was like, oh, I work at a whiskey bar. Yeah. He's like, oh, which one? And I was like, I work at William Oliver's, and it's like, I was like, I love that bar. And so he's like, oh, yeah, you guys have a lot of whiskey, don't you? I was like, yep, second largest selection in Fort Collins that I know of.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's good. Do you have your favorite type? And we just like talked about whiskey for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really dope. And I was just like, oh, thank God.
The fact that you got to talk
about
whiskey
in the back of my head, I was like, bring up the podcast. But then at the same time, I was like, he probably gets asked that a lot if he wants to come on to someone's podcast. So I was just like...
But you still brought it up anyways.
Yeah, I did. He asked, like, if I do anything, like, what else I do, and I said, I run a podcast. And so he's like, oh, what's it called? He's like, he got super excited. And he was like, and I was like, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, but it was really loud. Yeah. So he thought we were running the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. So, like, it was just really funny. It was really entertaining. But I got to tell him about the podcast a little bit. So,
well, maybe Bill, if you're listening, thank you for listening to us. This is exciting, and we should definitely get you on the podcast sometime to talk to you. Maybe. I'll ask, because Cody is still reeling. You message when I do. I'll bother Bill. Okay. I'll be annoyed to Bill. It's like, oh yeah, but I was bringing up One Eye Doll because it was like, so I met Kimberly Freeman like 4 times, I think 5, and yes, I do count. And like, because she's still arguably considered an indie like artist, an underground artist. Yeah. Like and I don't even think that like title applies to her like in general. Just the fact that it was a small show. Like, she stayed afterwards. She stayed until, like, she'll stay till, like, 1 a.m. and, like, just talk to all her fans. And it was one of the coolest experiences, just be able to talk to the artist. Especially, like, when you're enthralled by their music. Like, the fact that you got to talk to Bill and just be like, just talk about whiskey. Yeah. Like, with Bill Stevenson. I know. Like, and the fact that I could talk about, like, mental health with Kimberly, like... That, like, shit was fucking phenomenal. Yeah, it was super dope. You don't really get that with the big shows. Like, you usually have to pay extra to just talk to them and go backstage if you don't have connections. And just, like, to be able to have those moments where, like, just someone creates something that you love and that they're just human just like you. It's just awesome. It is. And it's really, like, it's a weird humbling aspect, too. Yeah. Because you're like, oh, my God, they are just people. Yeah. Oh my God, they're like human flesh sacks just like us. Yeah. Fucking I mean, I can't guarantee we're gonna be like that if you ever meet us. Knowing at this point, if you heard the last episode, I might not even hear your name. So I mean, just feel free to like have fun with me. I guess I don't know. Yeah, Cody, don't. A lot of fun with Matt. No. Yell at me. I don't know what to say to them. You know what? Just stab me when you meet me. No, because then I can't do that either. No. Yeah. Anyways, so... I'm set for life! The thing I hate... Since we're going on... Hey, you're Matt from the Punk Rock Horror Podcast, right? Yeah, that's you me. Said I could do this! I said one stab! Each stab costs $50. Yeah, I feel like some of our friends are actually going to do that now, like, just to do it. I'm not going to invite them over for like a hot month. We're not gonna hate. We're gonna hang out over like an internet connection, and that's it. That's it. That's all you're doing. I mean, some of them know where I work, so it's. That's true. I guess I'm gonna get murdered. You can write that on my tombstone. So after that, I guess I got murdered. Yeah, I guess I got murdered. I'm going to need a new co-host now, so... I will be there for the interviews via astral projection. Like, this is just like sitting in the chair. Do you want to have the, like, Superman's father's like head? Yeah, just like just the Jor-El head. Exactly. The floating Jor-El head. It's just your. And like the interviewee comes in, and you're like already talk to them, like right, and there's like, so do you want to ask me a question? I'm waiting for Matt to come in. You mean the dead guy? Excuse you? And then in my head goes up, the dead guy? Wow, that's ghost sis. How dare you? You know, then one of them... You lost your chance with this. I know, most of them would freak out, but we would end up having that one band where, like, one of them would be like, how are you throwing your voice? That's really good. It's just... And they're like, wait, but when you're trying to get a new co-host, like, the one... We'll know it's the right one when they're like, oh, that's fucking awesome. Decapitated head of Matt. Yeah. Sweet, like, you're fucking on the podcast. Yeah, that was it. Right. That was the question. That was the test. You win. You passed, sir. Or ma'am. Or dog.
Or dog. I might used to get a dog. So Henry, how's it going? Guys, this is actually Matt is possessed Henry. So.
This is probably the one episode where everyone's actually asking what the fuck is going on today.
Like, Cody still hasn't even said the thing he hates, and we're almost done.
He hates ghost cysts.
Ghostists, that's what I...
Ghost cysts. Or spirit cysts.
Spirit cysts.
Racist towards spirits.
So, like, because I know we've been trying to stay away from the whole, like, public...
We're trying to stay away from the
No,
public?
it's not public. Sorry, I just had a brain fart there.
No,
the whole like politics and religion and whatnot, like as much as we can now. So like the thing I honestly hate. It's really petty and it's really small, and I don't know why it's been agitating me lately. But it's all the like nostalgia trip shit. Like, do you remember Gargoyles or do you remember Rugrats? Do you remember All Real Monsters?
You know, I'm glad.
Like, do you remember this cartoon from the '90s that kids from the 90s will remember? Because I'm like, yes, I fucking know how old I am. Like, I don't need a reminder every other day.
You know, a great way for someone to explain this podcast to someone else is, well, what they consider to be politics is 90s cartoons.
Well, no, but I'm saying that's why I'm bringing this up, is because I'm staying away from the political things.
I'm just saying, it sounded like you're like, I
don't my bad.
It was just the way you connected that.
Well,
Like,
I was going to talk about something else, but I was just like, nah, you know what? I'm done talking about that. I'm going to talk about something petty this time. It's just really small, and it's just bugging the shit out of me.
It was just the way, like, you bridged those two. Like, it sounded different.
Whatever. Anyways, you know what? That's what I hate. I'm done.
But no, I get what you're saying. It's,
it's just like,
it was like 90s kids will remember.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah. And you know what? There's probably a good reason why some of those products we love aren't around anymore.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's like choking hazards or like high on sugar. Because we were definitely like the high on sugar age.
Yeah, and they wonder what is like why a lot of us ended up getting ADD and ADHD.
Like, we were the ones that, I mean, it wasn't us single-handedly, but we were there for like the obesity epidemic when it started.
Yeah, basically.
Like,
but yeah, no, it's just like one of those things where it's like I don't need a reminder of all the 90s stuff. It's like things I want to remember in the 90s, I remember. Yeah. I remember watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I already have the box set of the old cartoon.
I mean, I
movies.
I think it's when it's
just
like, I think it's the really obvious ones that are annoying. Like, yeah, we're gonna remember Rugrats.
Yeah.
But like when you actually do something, we're like, hey, 90s kids will remember But Ugly Martians.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that one kind of makes more sense because not a lot of people remember that one because it wasn't as big as Rugrats.
So, like, yeah, it's just those kind of things. And it's like, and I see the Gargoyles one every other fucking day. And I'm like, oh my god, I get it. Gargoyles was way ahead of its time and a fantastic cartoon.
Yes, we get it.
And it's like, okay, I get most of our 90s cartoons had a really, really, really deep meaning that we didn't get. It was way over our heads, but fuck, we can watch it now. Well, there's all kinds of different ways to watch them. I don't need a reminder every other day.
I know, it's like when you treat them like they're fossils and like gone forever.
And it's like, I know the 90s is about to be 30 years away, but that's still not that long ago.
Well, and the fact that they're now bringing those shows back, like, makes the whole, like, 90s kids will remember, like, kind of like thing moot. Or mute, whatever, how you say it.
I don't know.
And it's just, I just agree with you. It's just like, oh, 90s kids will remember SpongeBob SquarePants. Well, fucking yeah.
It's like, how are we gonna fucking? It's still on.
What do you mean 90s kids are? It's fucking there still. They still haven't put it out of its misery. God.
So, yeah, I'm just like, it's just, I'm like over it. Like the one time, like I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, I remember that show was like Fraggle Rock.
Like, but that makes sense because it's like Fraggle Rock is like in that middle of like that teetering of like Rugrat phenomena, and then also like But Ugly Martians non-phenomena.
So, but yeah, that's kind of the thing I hate. It's like I don't need a reminder every other day of 90s shit because I lived it.
Yeah. Like, who does that serve? It's not like I'm gonna go up to Aaron, like, who's 5 years old, and be like, you know, hey, do you remember Rugrats? Because then Erin's gonna be so sweet that she's just gonna say, yeah, I do, and then like she's never like she doesn't.
Yeah, like
she's never seen it.
I was gonna say like it's on Hulu. I don't need a reminder that there was a show called Rugrats. So, yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at.
Yeah, like, I mean, if it was like even the name, like, you know the show by the name. Like, if it was supposed to be something shocking, like, oh, 90s kids remember Adventures of Titfucker and Boner Fart. Like, yeah, that'd be kind of a thing. I'd be like, oh shit, yeah. I mean, that wasn't an actual show, but
So, and now I'm fairly certain, like, our listeners are just be like, okay, fucking get on with your movie reviews. We get it. It was petty.
I don't know. I kind of hope somebody sends us fan art of, like, the Adventures of Titfucker and Boner Fart. Like, I know Art of the Crow sent us one for your, like, killing ducks
fuck those
movie
ducks.
to come to me. But, like, now we need one for Titfucker and Boner Fart.
You know what? I want to call it the Quackening.
Like...
And then it would be the Quackening 2, Fowl's Return.
Like, I don't know what I don't know if the characters would have to look literal or just, like, in a metaphor. Like, how Superman is, like, his name is a metaphor for his overall, like, hero.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, what would be the metaphor? What would Titfucker as a metaphor be for an overall hero? Like, how do we, like, make that... Like, I feel like Boner Fart's pretty, like, straightforward. Like, I think we all know what a Boner Fart is going to look like.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, we should probably move on anyway.
Yeah, let's fucking move on. So, who went first last time?
Oh, yeah.
So, and I went first, because you did let me in after.
Yeah.
So you gotta go first this time.
I have to.
I mean, you don't have to.
I absolutely
do you want me to go?
No, I'll go.
Okay.
No, I got it. It's fine.
I think this works out well, too, with you going with this choice first.
I know. So we talked about classics. And one of the things I said that makes a movie a classic to me was the rewatchability. And so, like, the fact that you get something new every time from watching that movie. So for me, I did a movie that I still rewatch to this day and still get, like, feel different about it and, like, catch something new and always have a different opinion about the end of the film. American Psycho, which I believe a lot of you guys will agree that it's considered a classic. And it always, like, throws me off that it really wasn't made that long ago, because, like, just the way it's filmed and everything, it almost kind of makes you believe that it was, like, filmed back in the early 90s or something. It's actually filmed in 2000. But yeah, the synopsis is: a wealthy New York City investment banking executive. Jesus, that's a long name for his position. Patrick Bateman hides his alternate psychopathic ego from his coworkers and friends as he delves deeper into his violent, hedonistic fantasies. It was directed by Mary Herron. It was written by Bret Easton Ellis, who wrote the novel. For those who don't know, that it's actually based off of a book. Could you use this for our book episode?
Ooh.
Yeah. And Mary Herron, who did the screenplay. It stars Kristen Bale, Justin Theroux, Josh Lucas. I was like, threw me off for a second. William Dafoe and Jared Leto. So yeah. Definitely a fantastic fucking movie. Like I said, every time I rewatch this, I get something new. So, like, one thing, if you sorry, lost my train of thought.
No, you're cool.
Yeah. So one thing, like that, like I said, is rewatchability for a movie. So every time you watch American Psycho, you'll catch something new. Like, for me, for instance, I always forget that in the beginning of the movie, when you, like, first kind of see Bateman starting to snap a little bit, is he's at a bar and he orders a couple drinks, and the waitress, like, says something snarky to him. Like, I think it was she only takes cash or something like that. Like, they don't do card.
Yeah.
And right when she turns around, he's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you and play in your blood." And she turns around, and so the first time I watched the movie, I thought she reacted to it, because, like, she's super quiet and she doesn't, like, acknowledge him or anything after that.
Yeah.
Like, except for giving him his drinks and his card back, or his change. And so then I rewatched it again, and also after working at a bar, like, you know, working at a bar for so long, and also going to bars because I'm of age. It's when you're paying and you're getting your change, if it's really busy, the bartenders really don't acknowledge you anymore. They just slide you your stuff and, like, move on to the next customer.
Right.
Which, is fine because you're done the night. You're not paying anymore.
Yeah.
And so she does that, and that was like, it made me think like it's in his head that he said that. He didn't actually yell at her, but it's also a possibility he actually did, but she didn't quite hear what he said because it's super loud in the club and stuff. So that's like one thing that I'd always juggle in between every time I see it. Is like I see either she acknowledges him or she doesn't.
I mean, because the movie does that throughout the entire time too. It's like it does this like very subtle way of showing that he like mentally is deranged, and is showing like the things he wishes to act out, but also the things that he is actually acting out. So it really blurs the line. Yeah.
Well, what I like about it is like it also makes you feel like you don't know if it's in his head or not.
Exactly.
Because he also has an outburst on a lady who doesn't speak English, but she gets it. She feels his tone.
Yeah.
Like he goes, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And she's like, oh, like she actually reacts to what he says, but you don't know if she understands what he said.
Right.
So it's like you almost don't know if that's exactly what he said or if that's what he said in his head.
Yeah.
And so like that's what I love about this movie is you catch these small little things, because at the end of the movie, I'll talk about more like the other reasons why it's considered a classic, but the ending is one reason. It's because it's very ambiguous.
Right.
So like how it plays out is that you don't know if he's actually God damn it. If he's actually if he actually killed all those people or if he didn't. Like I'm not going to explain like exactly what happens at the end of the movie because it's a huge fucking spoiler even though you should have seen it by now. But I'm going to leave that ambiguous too.
Ambiguousness.
Yeah. So other reasons why a lot of people consider it a classic is because it's also seen as like it's shown as like the toxic masculinity, and Patrick Bateman is the like epitome of that.
Yeah.
Because he believes he has to have a certain look. That's why he has like a disastrous regime in the morning that like takes for fucking ever and has to be perfect.
Yeah, because like he does like he has to do like what.
Like 1,000 crunches a day.
Yeah.
And then he has to like do yoga and all this kind of stuff. And he has to wear an ice mask and put on all this facial products so he looks perfect.
Yeah.
And so like you see that, and then he always has this inner monologue that Patrick Bateman is just an idea, that he's just the idea of Patrick Bateman and stuff. So he's like, there's something else wrong with the guy.
Yeah.
And then also throughout the entire movie, different characters actually call him by different names.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing that, like, I noticed this last time that I watched it. I never really, like, understood why everyone kept calling him different names. And he'd always, like, correct him. It's like, it's Bateman. Or I'm Patrick Bateman. And they'd giggle. And then, like, oh, Davis, you're funny. And, like, or something like that. So it's also, like, makes you think, like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
So.
Right. Like, you don't even know if he's being honest.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I mean, going off of the toxic masculinity also is like, besides that, it's also like he has to be perfect. He has to make loads of money. And he has to like, the women that he sleeps with has to be like a certain way.
Yeah.
So it's like that whole like, you have to,
he needs to be in absolute control.
Yeah, of everything. So like, exactly what toxic masculinity is. And then what I believe also makes it classic is that one scene with a chainsaw, because God. Everyone remembers that scene. So it has that it factor.
Well, back to that Twitter comment from Monday of like the staged kills, how well they're done. Like,
yeah,
that is a great example of like a well done staged kill.
Yep, and then it has that, and it also has kills you don't see, but you can imagine what happens. So it still also has that kind of factor, and it's just like. That's why I can believe it classic. It has everything, and it has a memorable memorable person in Patrick Bateman, and yeah.
Well, and coming back to that kill, I mean, which is just a great overall example of how the entire movie was made, was that it was just the perfect idea of what a psychotic killer at its prime would look when he's finally broken. Yeah, he's finally got the deep end because he's chasing this woman. After having sex with her, naked.
So he's chasing her. So he actually just a little context. So earlier in the movie, he ends up beating the shit out of her after having sex with her because she's a prostitute.
Yeah.
Like, he hires 2 prostitutes, and he has to, like, this scene has become kind of a meme, so you've probably seen the scene where he's, like, having sex with one of them, and he's, like, flexing and stuff.
Yeah.
But so, he brings her back, and pays her a lot of money to bring her back, and he has another 3 with her and a coworker, and she's trying to get away from him because she knows he's psychotic. And then what makes the scenes even, like, more memorable is, like, you see him starting to eat the other girl.
Yeah.
Literally. And that's when she freaks out and he gets the chainsaw.
Well, what's so unsettling about that scene is, like, it
happens quiet.
It happens under sheets, and just, like, the blood all of a sudden appears.
Yeah. And, like, the other thing that makes the scene is there's no music.
Yeah.
You just start hearing her, like, scream and stuff, and you see Patrick, like, come up and he's all bloody, and the other girl freaks out.
Well, because then it, like, leaves your imagination to, like, where is he biting her? And your obvious, like, thought process is to that one spot on a naked woman's body.
Because you see his head down there.
Yeah, that is the most not okay place to do it. And so you're just like, holy shit, like, he's finally snapped. And then he chases her, and he chases another woman, like, down the hallway with a chainsaw reeling, covered in blood, naked.
And nothing but his socks.
Yeah, and he's just fucking going after her, and she runs down the stairs, and you think she's gonna fall and break her neck, or you think he's gonna trip, or she's gonna trip, and she gets to the bottom of the stairs, and that's how he fucking gets her.
Yeah, he just drops the chainsaw.
Yeah,
like, he's just like ultimate mic drop.
Yeah, and is this the scene that is gonna show us that it's all in his head, and that this was the first time he snapped, or is this calculated that, and he actually does know what he's doing and pays homage to, like, what it showed early on in the movie with his morning routine, that he's calculated and in control, and then chainsaw falls on said girl, and then you're just left with a fuck.
Yeah, basically. That's like, because everyone, that's such a good scene. It's so intense.
It really is.
And so another thing that, like, if this is for someone, like, if other people haven't noticed, so in slasher movies and whatnot that take over several days, like, the entire movie takes over a time period of several days.
Yeah.
They'll kind of report. You'll hear, like, small little reports of the deaths and whatnot all the time. When in this movie, you never hear about it. Like, you never hear about a single death in the entire movie except for Paul Allen. Because, like, he becomes pretty much the center point, the driving block of the entire movie.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to spoil what happens to that, but, like, I will spoil one scene. It's not, like, super spoiler where we have to pause it.
Oh, let me get the timer.
No, you don't have to pause it.
Oh, okay.
It's just one of my favorite scenes. And so there's a part where Patrick Bateman's getting ready to kill someone, and he's talking to him about Huey Lewis, and he's playing Hip to Be a Square, and he just starts dancing. And every time I see that scene, like, I remember, it just reminds me of when I first watched this movie, and it was with my dad, and we just lost our shit at that scene. It's like that's also one of the most memorable things about the movie. So, yeah. So if you've never seen this movie, which Harrison actually has never seen the movie, and he has his own opinion about the ending. That's also what I like.
Yeah, it definitely
about this is
it's
that
a conversation piece.
Yep, everyone has their own opinion about the movie after the ending. So, because I remember when I watched it with my dad, he had an opinion. And then, like, I kind of agreed with him, but then I rewatched it. I had a different outlook on it. Then I watched, like, a little in-depth, like, thing about the movie. Basically, they were just talking about, like, how deep it is and whatnot. And they had a different opinion about the ending. But they all, like, they kind of said the two main ones that people have. But I think it's just so great that everyone has their own opinion of what the ending means for the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought that was cool. So, some trivia. Jesus Christ, this is a long one. To block the three-way sex scene with 2 prostitutes, co-writer and director Mary Herron and Christian Bale watched X-rated tapes. In her commentary, Herron says Bale made stick figure drawings of the positions he thought would work best.
Huh. Oh my god! When you're ready, I have one that I picked out.
Sorry, one other cool fact about this movie. So there's before his first 2 kills.
Yeah.
And once in the first time, he always has the TV in the background.
Yeah.
And it's either porn, and then you see, like, porn playing in the background.
Yeah.
And then before his other kill, the porn was where he beat the shit out of the prostitutes because what was playing on the TV
Right.
was a BDSM three-way with two girls.
Right.
And he just beat the shit out of him because of BDSM.
Right.
And then in the second scene where he has the movie on, he has fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre playing on in the background.
Yeah, it's like foreshadowing.
Yep, and then he kills someone. And it's also like really funny because it foreshadows the fact that he uses a chainsaw at a point.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was my fun little trivia. Let's see.
Can I do mine?
Yeah, sure.
Looking for a way to create the character Patrick Bateman, Christian Bale stumbled onto a Tom Cruise appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman in 1993, according to co-writer and director Mary Harron. Bale saw in Cruise this very intense friendliness with nothing behind the eyes, as Bale subsequently based the character of Bateman on that. Interestingly, Tom Cruise is actually featured in the novel. He lives in the same apartment complex as Bateman, who meets him in an elevator and gets the name of Cocktail 1988 wrong, calling it Bartender. Again,
that's pretty cool.
but that also makes me laugh. Like Christian Bale at the time in 1993 is just like, God, who can I base a very shallow, eccentric character on? How do I do that?
That murders people.
I don't know who to do that. And then like David Letterman's like on TV. I just don't know. He sees Tom Cruise. My God.
I just solved the mission that's impossible.
Reporting this minority.
One fun fact that I know that was fairly well known is that Christian Bale was hired, then fired, and then he rehired for the movie. Because originally he wasn't seen as like...
Crazy enough?
Well, crazy and like stereotypically handsome for that character. Like he didn't fit that type.
Yeah.
And then they rehired him when like I forget what he did. He did something like I think it was another test or a tryout or something like that. But yeah, so
where can everybody check out this movie, Cody?
You can check it out on Hulu, I believe is where you can check it out on Hulu. I believe it might still be on Netflix. I'm not 100% certain. But I own it, so I don't have to worry about it too much either. I was just too lazy to go upstairs and get my copy.
So here, we'll do it like this instead. So where you can check it out for free right now is on Hulu. But if you want to go ahead and purchase the movie off Amazon, I'm going to tell you right now what you're looking at for it.
Which I highly recommend. It's great. Well, also fun fact about this movie, it didn't do very well when it first came out.
Well, no.
It became like a huge cult classic.
Yeah. Like, doing a little sleuthing. So after a little looking, it says it's available on Amazon Prime right now. I think you're looking at about like $5 to $6 to own it, and then like $2 or $3 to just rent it.
Something like that.
But there's also conflicting information saying it's not available on Prime at the moment. But you can, if you do have a Hulu account, it is on Hulu for free right now.
Yep.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah, fantastic movie.
That being said, gonna jump into my movie now. So obviously you went with one that has that very classic feel to it, because one thing that can be said about American Psycho is that it has a terrible sequel, but also has
we don't count the sequel.
Exactly.
Even it had the potential, but
so what if it's Mila Kunis
and William Shatner?
Point being is that American Psycho has a very classic look. So I looked for something more in what we would see in today's day and age, which, funny enough, American Psycho came out in like 2000. But hey, whatever.
I know. That's what I mean, man. Like,
it just has a classic feel. It just has that classic look. Anyways, so I decided to do my movie on Last Shift, which came out in 2014. It was directed by Anthony DiBlasi and written by Anthony DiBlasi and Scott Poyle. Stars Juliana Harkavy and Joshua Mikkel and Hank Stone. So, kind of like a little Easter eggish thing here, or not really much of an Easter egg, but calling back to a few episodes ago, our buddy James messaged on one of our listener participation corners that one movie that scared the shit out of him was Last Shift. This is that exact movie.
Yeah. So why would you consider it a classic?
So it just kind of reminding people where it's coming from. Also, because I know James is going to listen to this and he's going to be like, now he finally does it. So I'm going to go into why I did it real quick, but I forgot to give you the synopsis of this movie. So Last Shift is about a rookie cop's first shift alone in the last night of a closing police station, which then turns into a living nightmare. So I'm going to say it again, IMDb, get better with this shit, because that was not... I made up most of that. So I did. You can fucking fight me.
At me, IMDb.
Right. So
Come on, Kyle.
So as a synopsis, butcherly, that I had to fix with my heroic and, well thought out grammar.
Go on.
That's it. And that's what. So then we follow this woman's first shift ever. So she has to watch this building at night, and the only reason she can't leave, like, the whole police station that she's watching is completely like shut down. All 911 calls have been routed to the new station, and the only reason she's there is because there is still some hazardous material, like hazardous evidence. Evidence that's considered hazardous, was left behind, and someone has to be there until hazmat comes between I think it's like 10 and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
to pick up all those materials. So because they can't risk anyone breaking in or taking it. Well, that's where this movie starts, because you start to find out that there's a big, huge mystery lying underneath this movie. So what's great about this plot is that it sneaks up on you. So we're introduced into another paranormal movie. Ghost things happen because person is left alone in abandoned building.
Yep.
Okay, that's never been done before. So what? There's probably a ghost, and it's probably because, like, some guy died in here.
If they're going to be benevolent or something.
It's whatever. Just, like, your standard demon possession shit. Whatever. Like, that's kind of how it comes off at first. But we begin to, like... the movie really gets your blood moving with the plot at hand. So
yeah.
You find out that the evidence that's being kept isn't any normal evidence. Why it's contaminated is that it's covered in blood. But the blood it's covered in is the blood of, I think, like 7 kidnapped teenage girls. And you find out that they were kidnapped by this cult. And the clothes that are in the evidence were being worn by those cult members.
Yeah.
And so it really kind of opens up this, like, oh, so you don't want, people coming here to steal, like, evidence because they're druggies or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they don't want people to come in here because people of that same cult are still alive and are going to try to come in there.
Yep, and steal their stuff.
Well, and it warns in a foreshadowing way, like, when she meets the officer to relieve his position, where he, like, looks at her and he's like, it's between, like, you're against the world. You can't let any fucker in here to get this evidence, or all hell will break loose.
Yeah.
And then he breaks the tension. He's like, I'm just fucking with you. Like, but it's kind of in a foreshadowing way. So it does this, like, really good job, though, at getting you to like the hero. Now, it kind of also a con is that it can be a slow burn in certain aspects.
Yeah,
of, like,
beginning was really slow.
The beginning is a little rough, but I'm not gonna give it too much shit. Only in that it utilizes it well to kind of, like, get you to like our character in small interesting ways. Now, arguably, is it done in a boring way? Yes, because she just walks around the police department and is just like curiosity's getting the better of me.
She has a couple heartfelt moments.
Yeah, and I mean, like, those heartfelt moments are really good because it's telling this story of her background in a very, like, low manner, like a very kind of like not low manner, but like a subconscious way. Like, here's this photo I found and it means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why does that photo mean a lot to you, right?
Yeah.
And so it at least let you get to a point where, like, you do generally love our protagonist and you want her to survive. And it's not just because, like, she's a good person. Like, it shows you why she's a good person and that she's actually has this pure heart. And so you really just, like, fall for the character's writing. And so what eventually hauntings do and persist. I mean, this isn't just a movie about some chick walking around a police department all night. Like, I mean, yeah, we'd lose all credibility at that point.
Yeah, that was it.
And yeah, that's the most terrifying thing. No, so hauntings do happen, and it's a very kind of like homage to The Exorcist or like Poltergeist. And
I'd say more Poltergeist.
Yeah, because the hauntings like get increasingly more intense.
Yeah, they start more small.
Yeah, and it starts off with a small like I know we do like the whole like not considering jump scares like classical thing kind of came up, but like there are some jump scares in it. But what's nice about this movie is that those jump scares are what is the hauntings at the small beginning.
Yeah.
Like, when the hauntings get progressively worse, they become more vivid and more threatening, and it isn't just pure jump scares. Like, it's pure utter terror. That's fucking phenomenal.
It is. And they do a really, really good job with it. Because I watched it with you, and because that was my problem, too. Like, in the beginning, I was like, man, I'm going to fall asleep. And then when the things started happening, I was like, well, I'm not going to sleep at all. How about that?
Well, that's what I fucking love about it. So it makes up for a slow beginning with the relentless, like, middle and end.
Yeah.
Like, the rest of the time, it is relentless. Like, there's maybe very few moments of, like, breaks between that intensity, but when it just keeps going, it just keeps going.
And, well, what I like about it, too, is, like, you feel for her because everyone's been in, like, they've been home alone and stuff like that. I think they hear things or see things.
Yeah.
So what they do really well is, what I think is done really well, is the fact that it's at a police station.
Yeah.
And so it's supposed to be a place that's safe.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like when safety isn't safe.
Yeah, and she's a police officer who's supposed to uphold this peace and safety and be this hard person.
Yeah.
You know, seeing the chinks in her character where, like, you know, she breaks down and stuff and is like, I don't know if I could do this, but then she, like, powers up. Like, you know, at times and stuff. So, like, that's one thing that I really liked about the movie. And the small hints.
Yeah.
Of, like, shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
Like, they're really subtle at times.
So, like, one in particular, like, that, like, stood out. And there's a lot of hauntings that happen in this movie that are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
But the one that stood out is the holding cell scene.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Shit.
So, I'm not going to give away the entire thing because you have to experience it for yourself. So, I'm going to give you, like, the first half of what happens. Because there's two things that happen in that holding cell that are fucking out of this world. So eventually she, you know, a homeless man finds his way into the station and, like, you know, starts causing trouble for her just because he's a homeless man, I guess.
I don't know.
I don't really.
I feel like he's really significant.
Yeah, I mean, so.
Like, I almost want to rewatch it just to figure it out.
I think he was. Like, but I don't want to jump on it because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But point being, so, like, he pees on the station and he's, like, going through some files, trying to, like, find something that we're not really alluded to. And she arrests him, puts him in the holding cell, and then all the power in the station goes out.
Yep.
And she hears him crying for help, so she goes down there to find what's going on and gets locked in the holding cell with him, and then complete darkness. And then,
well, he was knocked out before that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting now. So what happened is that she originally tased him to knock him out, and so he's passed out.
Yep.
Within the holding cell, and that she tases him in the holding cell. Holding cell closes in on her, and then all the lights just go out, and it's completely dark.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, it's like maybe like a dark black screen for like 15 seconds. She's looking for a flashlight. Her flashlight gets picked up
because you hear someone stand up.
Yeah, and so you think it's the homeless man. Well, the flashlight holds up, and she says, "Give me my flashlight." Yeah, give me to now. Remind you, I'm armed. Like, and then so the flashlight moves to the corner and shows that the homeless man's still passed out.
Yeah.
And then that's when, like, the utter fear sinks in because it was only just her and the homeless man in there.
Yeah.
So who's holding the flashlight?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it just, like, goes back to her and then turns off. And you're just like, what the fuck? Like, it's not a jump scare moment, and that's what I love about it. Because it's such a, like, holy shit.
And it's so small. Like, just so well done.
Yeah. Like, and that whole scene gets so much more terrifying, and it's such a thrill ride. Mm-hmm. Like, so again, I do want to emphasize that what makes this movie a classic too is that it does a great job at setting up our characters' backstory. So, like, as compared to, like, Laurie Strode from Halloween, like, we learn to adore Jamie Lee Curtis's character because we find out she is, Michael Myers', sister later down the road, and she has this very significant.
That's not canonical anymore.
I thought no, in the new one it is.
No, it's not.
Well, fucking whatever. Point being is that like you get like how that one set up it like Laurie Strode's backstory.
Yeah.
Like you're like it does enough to get you to like her, but doesn't like really go into this like whole thing of like her entire life.
Yeah.
Like it sums up the reason you should like her really well. So then again, this movie does that very well for our hero. It sums up really well that her father has been killed or was murdered, and and he was a cop, and so she wants to do him proud and carry his name on by becoming an officer as well.
Yeah. And
carrying that name, and you're just like, even if it wasn't like a cop, just like a dude, like her becoming the next blacksmith of the family. Like the fact that you're just like,
she wants to carry on the pride of the family.
Like that's like it's a heartwarming thing. So I just really like that they really did a good job making you care about the hero.
Yeah.
Also, it's very creative with the scares. Like I talked about the holding cell scene, but like all the scares that happen in this movie are very creative. There's one in particular that is drawn out the entire movie, and it doesn't get you until the very like close to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And it happens all over the phone.
Yeah, that was done really well. I knew it though from the beginning. I was like, I know something's up with this.
But still, though, just like I mean, yeah, you know something's up with it, but once it gets to the end, and you find out, you're like,
nice little trip.
What the fuck,
dude? What I like about this movie too, like what they do really well is like they think they're building you up for a scare, and then it doesn't happen till like 10-15 minutes later. Like it totally like sets it up for a whole nother like so much more shit happens in between from like that build up to like the payoff, which I thought was really done really well, because a lot of movies, especially now, they like have the little build up like, oh, you see like you'll either like do a point of view from like the creature's face like coming up behind them or something, they turn around, they're not there, then they turn around, they're there again, then they're there. Or like shit like that, but they do that in this movie, and then it's like a still 10-15 minute payoff. Like you have to wait to get that because they change it.
It keeps you on your toes. And that's what's so classic about its scares, is that it's not staged kills, it's staged scares, and they do it so well.
Yeah,
like it is just so creative. And so with that being said, I do have a few cons. Now this movie does have too long of an intro. It's not the whole like credit sequence of what I always complain about with horror movies. It's still pretty long. It's just a long intro into the movie, and then when the movie's actually going and it's slow, it's a slow burn in the beginning. But once you get past like that first like 15-20 minutes, like it's totally like a throwhead.
Yeah.
There's also a point in the movie where she gets a phone call from a woman in distress, who we find out is to be goes by the name Monica Young. Like she finds out the first and last name eventually, and so like she calls the station up the road, that news station. And they're like, oh, there's only they're like Monica Young is dead. Like that, it's the classic. But it's been dead for 80 years kind of thing.
You just spoiled the telephone.
Well, no, it's fucking... No, like, you get it early on. I didn't spoil the biggest thing about that telephone.
No.
But anyways, like, don't worry about that. Trust me on this. But the fact that she's reporting it in, and dispatcher's like, oh, well, Monica Young, blah, 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 hasn't existed for blah, 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 whatever. Like, like... This is one thing I've always hated about paranormal movies and ghost movies. Or like anything like this, where they're like, "Oh, that mechanic hasn't worked here for 80 years."
Yeah,
like it's like, is there only one Monica Young in the whole entire world? Like that just kind of makes me really mad, because I'm like, if this was real, there would be more than one Monica Young, right?
Yeah.
Like in this, like there's no evidence that this is a small town or anything like that, so we can assume that this is your average American-sized city. So like, if you're in Denver, probably like it could be about the size as Denver, for all we know. It's so like so how do we know there's only one Monica Young? Like, yelling at the rookie all you want, you sound like a fucking shitty dispatcher. And then maybe there's something I just don't know, but like she only gave him the name, so that's what I'm saying. If they're only looking up someone by the name, like I know there's another Matt McCord somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
But, like, that's my whole point. like it's just as likely that there's a Matt McCord within Lakewood or Fort Collins as there is a Monica Young.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just my whole thing. I'm like, that just shit, it bugs me. I'm like, there's only one Monica Young, shut the fuck up. So, and also, at some point, the dispatcher that she's talking to throughout the entire night, reporting, you know, some of the happenings that happened. She's like, you know, just these weird things are happening. This is what I'm hearing. And the dispatcher was like, look, that station is known to have some weird things happen in it, and it's known to have some hauntings. And that shit pissed me off immediately when he said that. Because here's the thing. Throughout the entire movie, like, when she calls the first time and reports something weird happening, he's just like, whatever. Like,
no, don't worry
but I'm like, wait, if you knew hauntings happen in this fucking department this entire time, like this entire station, like, why didn't you tell her? Because there's a point in the movie where she's like, I'm gonna go wait in my squad car.
Yeah.
Like, so we know she can do that, but, like, the fact that, like, he knows that she can do that and didn't bother to be like, look, it sounds like she's experiencing some weird things. Sounds like I know this is gonna get worse for her because this isn't the first time I've heard about it. I should probably tell her. Because he even
says it started off small and they built up.
Yeah, like, he knew all about it, and I'm just like, and you can make that because the movie does tell you that there are some cult members that are still alive. You can say that he is a cult member, but there's no evidence to say he is, so it's all up to suggestion at that point. So my whole thing is like, why would he not tell her this early on in the movie?
Or
like,
the Sarge.
Now, keep in mind, I fucking love this movie, but this is a plot hole that bugs me.
Yeah, or the Sarge, like, why he was all pissed off and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, criticize the things you love, okay? Like, this is what I'm getting at. But just like, oh, we've known about this. Fucking say something!
Yeah.
Like, and you can make the argument, like, oh, well, what if he was worried that she wouldn't believe him? She would! Because she called him after one of the first hauntings that was like, she knew this place wasn't right.
Yeah.
She called him and said, hey, I just, you know, can you send backup or anything down here? Like, and, like, you can tell she's distressed the entire time.
Yeah.
And, like, instead of just, like, that's how he knows. That's how he knows that he can tell her. Like, and it could have been just something smaller. It's like, hey, did your lights flicker at all?
Yeah.
Like, in a weird, inconsistent manner? Are you hearing weird noises by chance? And if
she even hear singing,
and even if she'd said no to even the singing, like, he could be like, nothing. It's never mind. Don't worry about it, and then, like, move on, and that would have been more acceptable within this movie.
Yeah,
because that is an easier, like, bridging of a plot point than the whole, like, oh, I should have told you this at the beginning. That place is haunted as shit, motherfucker.
Yeah.
If I were you, I would just go wait in your car. I would go home and then come back when you're supposed to be relieved.
Yep.
Like, you get what I mean? Like, there's just all these ways that it could have been, that he could have told her, and I'm mad he didn't, and I think he should be fired.
Well, my biggest critique about the entire film, too, is, like, so they know that there's cult members there. And the police know that the evidence in there is all the stuff from the cult. Yeah. Why are you only putting a rookie there?
Yeah, and so, again, and these sound like really big plot holes, and this sounds like, well, Matt, Cody, if these are these big plot holes, I mean, should we really check out these movies? Yes, because Nightmare on Elm Street has a shit ton of plot holes, too. Yeah. Fucking Friday the 13th has a shit ton of plot holes. Halloween has a shit ton of plot holes. Fucking It has a shit ton of plot holes. Both the book and the movie. Let's not get started on the book, because that's a weird multi-universe trip that we have to take. The point being is that, like, all these classics have, like, huge plot holes with them. Yeah. And maybe some don't have that many big ones, but the fact that you can look at these plot holes and still get a good through ride out of this movie is the whole point of this subject for this week, of what makes a classic. And that's why I think Last Shift is classic. It is a classic ghost story movie. It is one that you could see being told around a campfire. And honestly, you're doing a disservice to yourself not watching this movie. It is absolutely terrifying. It is thrilling to watch the entire time, and it's something you're going to be talking about with your friends for a long time. A few trivia facts about it, and few to be exact. The name Paimon is taken from the demon name Paimon. According to the Gosia, I think it's Gosia, the lesser key of Solomon the king, Paimon is one of the kings of hell, more obedient to Lucifer than other kings, and has 200 legions of demons under his rule. The police station is actually the Stanford, Florida police station that had recently been shut down and replaced by a new police/fire complex built a few blocks away.
Interestingly, the same King of Hell Payman is also the subject of the recent horror movie Hereditary, in which a cult works to bring about the incarnation of Payman.
Oh, this is funny. I didn't really... So there is a scene in the movie where our hero does
you didn't know?
No, I didn't know that. So just to provide context, there is a scene in the movie where our hero leans back in her chair and she sees the words, the letters SOW spelling out so.
Sow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it looks like it says so, but it's supposed to be sow. And I didn't know that. And it's written on the ceiling, and the letters in the ceiling spelled sow, which means female pig. And obviously, cops are referred to as pigs.
Yeah.
So like,
she's a female cop.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I was just like, okay, SOW.
Yeah.
And so that makes it even more of a classic then in that case, because they keep that there the entire time.
Yeah, they do. Their attention to detail is actually done really, really well.
Yeah. So
with that kind of stuff, where like things that would actually like that happened like stayed the way they were, because every time, if you notice, when all the lockers open up on her.
Yeah.
Every time it looks into the locker scene, the locker room, or not the scene, but every other scene afterwards that looks into the locker room, you see all the lockers still open.
Yeah.
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 So,
that's fucking cool. Rad.
So definitely give these movies a watch, especially if you haven't seen.
I gotta tell them where they can watch Last Shift.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm the asshole.
Yeah. No. I'm just kidding.
Just fuck myself.
So where you can catch Last Shift right now is if you have a Shudder account on Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free. Right now, you can also rent it for $2.99 and buy it for, I think it's $4.99 on Amazon. It is a frequent visitor to Netflix. It's currently not available on Netflix, but I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back around Halloween time again this year. Mm-hmm. So, but again, if you have Shudder and Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free right now. Last Shift came out in 2014. And as Cody was saying before I rudely interrupted...
Yeah, fucking asshole. Definitely give these movies a watch. They're both fantastic. I know American Horror Story... Or, not American Horror Story. American Psycho. God damn it. I'm mad at myself right now.
You know what? You're changing your review to American Horror Story.
But anyway, so I know American Psycho is definitely considered a cult classic. I don't know if it's hit the just regular classic stage yet. I mean, it has in my opinion, and I know a lot of other people's opinions. And then Last Shift, that's a movie that needs a lot more love, because like I said, I actually never watched it, but I've seen it on Netflix several times, which ties into your if you see that horror movie you're curious about, just watch it.
Yeah,
because I was super curious about this movie and I never got the chance to watch it. I didn't watch it.
Well, another great thing about it is like none of it is CG.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
There's a little bit
of one like small scene that has CG.
Yeah,
but I can't really talk about it because then it gives away like a huge
thing.
So
definitely check them out. And check us out on
our Facebook at Punk Rock Horror Podcast. You can search us Punk Rock Horror Podcast, or our Twitter at official PRHP, where we do communicate a lot easier on that one.
Yep. And on Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PRHP Podcast. And you can listen to all our episodes on Spotify, Google Play, YouTube.
Player FM, Podtail, Stitcher, our website, www.punkrockhorrorpodcast.com. And if you want to support the show and probably support some indie horror creators, you can go over to our Patreon and become a $2, $4, $6, or $8 a month patron. All have increasingly better rewards than the previous tier. With that being said, we also have 2 shows coming out. One is the Punk Rock Half Hour Power that's coming out this Sunday, talking about more about classical horror movies, and also, which is hosted by Lala, and also the Paranormal Princess podcast coming out here on the tail end of July here. And that being said,
not gonna lie, you said all that like fairly mopey and serious.
Did I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it sounded like it. I was just like, God damn, I know I kind of said more than I usually did at the end.
No,
but I didn't like steal your thunder.
I think I was trying not to trip over my words. I was getting lost in another thought, and I was like trying to stay here.
Yeah, I was like, are you about to like drop a bomb or something like that?
Just like
and Duke's dead.
I was like, just pass out instead. Just
just like,
but get yourself some Punk Rock Horror Podcast merch. We have shirts, mugs. Eventually, leggings. I don't really know what we're going to put on leggings.
Just our faces on the butt cheeks.
You would think it's that easy right now. I'm still struggling to like get it to format. Like, I feel like people would want our faces on their asses. That's a thing people want, right?
Some people do that.
I think somebody does. Send us a picture of our faces on your butt when those come out.
I guess.
So, with that being said, thank you again, Ghouls Gals, for hanging out and talking about horror with us. And we will talk to you next time. Podcast over.
Podcast over.
Bye.
Bye.